Keep them on the mat.
And yeah, right about there. That's very vertical. Very vertical. So we're gonna watch this video. This is an old video, 2009, I believe, like early in the year, maybe May. I had a super fight against a guy named Cody Butzer, and he was a really good wrestler. I believe he had maybe done some MMA fights. About a 25-pound weight difference. I was well under, he was well over. But this was a cool event for the Ohio Grappling Challenge. It's now the American Grappling Challenge, run by Dustin Ware. And it was a 5-on-5. So it was 5 guys from Ohio versus 5 guys from other states. I was representing Indiana. And so yeah, like it was almost like an Abu Dhabi rule. So like all submissions legal. It was an 8-minute match. The first 4 there was no points. I had been working wrestling a little bit. Now, I'm not a wrestler by any means, and this guy's a high-level wrestler. I believe he won a state championship in Ohio, good collegiate guy. So very, very high-level wrestler. Was training at East Coast Martial Arts at the time, doing Jiu-Jitsu, which is now one of my affiliates, oddly enough. But yeah, so what you're going to see here, we'll probably fast forward through most of the match. I can talk a little bit about some of it. But I had a game plan of going out wrestling a little bit, and you'll see he was way better than me. And ultimately, like, I assumed I would finish this match with a guillotine, which I kind of did. But this is always fun to watch. So you can see I'm very muscular and very jacked. I think I was weighed in right at like 165, maybe 170, maybe. So let's get into it a little bit. So a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of hand fighting. I know we were both kind of starting slow. I was just kind of looking like I said, the guy was a high-level wrestler, so I was just kind of messing around a little bit, and takedowns didn't really count. Right here, though, I remember this. I had jumped, and when I hit the mat, I was like, oh my God, this is the hardest mat I've ever rolled on in my life. It was like an old frozen wrestling mat. It was almost like hitting the concrete. It was bad. So again, no points first 4 minutes. I wasn't really concerned with it. I wasn't worried about him getting a submission. So I was just kind of feeling him out, really, just kind of moving. And I wanted to wrestle with him. I wanted to do a little bit of stand up. So I assumed anytime I gave him some space, he would stand up. Okay, and that's exactly how it went. So this is interesting. He was doing some front headlock stuff. I'm not easy to guillotine, and I was expecting a little more, but he pushed away. So we wrestle. I think I kind of went for like a high crotch here. Here in a second, and my knee kind of buckled. Doesn't work out real well for me. There was like a little glimmer, like I could take this guy down. I could maybe get this. I felt good with my hand fighting. But yeah, once we really got in the mix, I was like, holy smokes, this guy is really strong, and he's not gonna. I'm not getting in on him. So. And you notice he's kind of picking up the pace a little bit. He's going a little faster, a little harder. I was just trying to. There it was. The worst high crotch ever. All right, so more wrestling. Like I said, I really just during that first 4 minutes, I just wanted to wrestle. Just kind of grip fighting, just hand fighting a little bit, trying to keep head position, good stance, It's probably the highest level wrestler I've ever gone with. So, gave me opportunity to just kind of experiment, kind of play, kind of not get choked by guillotines. So he was cranking here, nothing on it. I wasn't worried about it.
Come on, James. Look out. Nice. Deep breath.
Same thing.
You got 5 minutes left, James. Points will start in 1 minute.
So yeah, I heard my corner just yell. There's still 1 minute of no points. Took a shot. I wasn't worried about getting taken down. I wasn't worried about him scoring. Again, he goes for another guillotine, unsuccessfully. And then right here, right there, I caught him. So what you're gonna see is I actually caught him in a high elbow guillotine or a Marcellotine, where my elbow is over his shoulder. What that does is it prevents him from throwing his arm over the shoulder to do that typical coat hanger defense, right? With like the lift or the trip. So as we're going, he starts running out of bounds. My elbow's still over his shoulder, and you see the ref, John, here. He calls stop because he's literally running out of bounds, okay? And then they're yelling, you can't run off the mat, you can't run off the mat. So I stopped choking him. I released the elbow, but I held his head. He was still trying to work his head out. So I held his head. I didn't completely let go of the choke, but I stopped the pressure on the choke, right? I was holding his head, and I turned to John to say, like, he's pulling his head out. So what you'll see is you'll see my elbow drop off the shoulder, and you'll see my posture come up as I turn to say something to John. And yeah, right about there, when he first lifted, I was like, he's not gonna slam me. John said stop. And then right here, I was like, oh, he's not stopping. I should probably move my head a little bit. So I turned my head just in time, and I landed pretty much right here, a little shoulder, obviously, but remember how I said these were the hardest mats I've ever been on in my life? Now, I don't remember much of this right here. I remember waking up and seeing Dan Dorner, and I thought I'd been choked out. Like, when I woke up, I was like, holy crap, he just choked me out. And so I kind of smiled. I kind of laughed. And then I remember kind of pushing away, and it kind of came to me, and I was like, I remember what happened. And I tried to get up, and then they would not let me up. They were very insistent that I stay there.
It's okay.
So.
No.
Now we gotta find another ref. I know.
Yeah, I was reffing that day also. So, but yeah, I felt good. I felt fine. The lady rubbing my head, I think she's an EMT, so they got me some ice. She just kind of kept my head still. She actually made a lewd comment at the camera person who was with me. I was like, no. I want this on video. So yeah, I laid there for a while. They kept me there for a while, and then they end up, oh yeah, so here you'll see Cody come over. He apologizes. He's like, man, he said he was basically going out. He couldn't hear the ref. I'm assuming he didn't know like where he was off the mat, yada yada. Did a great defense.
Yeah, he's got to go off.
It's not sweat.
And that's the fantastic Steve Heineman up in the top right hand. He was the owner of East Coast Martial Arts. He passed away a few years ago from cancer, but he did a lot of charity for the cancer hospital, cancer research over in that area. They still to this day under Chad Kuhn, they run like a big seminar every year. They bring big name guys in. Guys like James Clingerman, but a lot of big name guys they bring in for this big charity seminar, and they donate a lot of money to the hospital over there. Yeah, so he comes over, he apologizes. They put me in this stupid thing. So down there in the corner it said 23 minutes after the slam. So they made me sit there for way too long, way too long. I took a nice little ambulance ride to the hospital where the doctor did not care at all. It was like, yeah, take that off, stand up, close your eyes, whip your head around like this. You didn't die? Cool, you're good. That's barely an exaggeration. He didn't even look. They didn't X-ray. They didn't look at me. Nothing. He literally was like, "Yeah, let's just whip your head around and see if you can still walk afterwards." So I don't know what hospital that was, but I wouldn't recommend it. Yeah. So they put me on the stretcher. Boom, 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 and then a couple more times. It made a nice sound. So right here you can kind of see how my elbow is no longer over the shoulder. And John's kind of intervening already, like, hey, stop trying to get your head out of the choke because I called time. And me, not even remotely, trying to defend it, gave him a great lift. And man, he had a great lift. That's very vertical. Very vertical. Mat is very hard. Boom. Yeah.
Keep him on the mat. Let's go.
So good times. But yeah, he was cool after he came up, apologized. Oh yeah, and then like I said, Dustin Ware, ran a great show. They had some issues as far as allowing that guy to compete in other shows again. I don't know what he's up to these days. I don't know if he's still training or not. Like I said, East Coast Martial Arts is one of my affiliates now. I think I ran into his cousin. I talked to her for a minute, but yeah. So that was a really, really great day. Came back from the hospital, tried to ref, and they just made me sit there and watch the rest of the tournament. So I think I had some guys competing, so I coached a little bit the rest of that day, but yeah, don't let your guard down. Always defend yourself, even when you don't think you need to. And don't let big, strong wrestlers pick you up over their head and slam you on your head. That's my advice for today.